Hey there, YouTube. How's everybody out there this Friday? It is another stunning day here in South Alabama. It's actually the hottest day of the week, but a little cold front's going through, so I'm going to do this video and then I'm going to the park and have a nice walk while I listen to some either a podcast or some inspirational music. But I thought today I'd talk about long-term weight maintenance on a raw vegan diet. And as all my videos are, I just like to say this from time to time. These videos are from my experience. I'm not here to recruit anybody to get to eat like I do. I'm not trying to talk anybody into eating like I do. I don't have any interest in that. I mean, it doesn't do anything for me. So take what you can use, discard the rest, and move along and find some more information somewhere. That's just how that's kind of the Bruce Lee, kind of rough thing of the Bruce Lee quote. Take what you can use, discard the rest, and move on. But for a little background, I was a fat kid, not a huge fat kid. In fact, as I look back, I was probably the fat kid. Or, I grew up in a small town. I don't know. I don't need to get too long into this. But anyhow, being a fat kid back then ain't like what it was today. I wasn't like 400 pounds, but I do remember in the 6th grade I was about 140 pounds, and I probably wore the same size pants. No, I probably wore bigger pants then than I do now. I lost weight between the 6th and the 7th grade, all through high school. I was just kind of a regular guy, ate like a regular guy, but I never really had a weight problem again. I got in college and was, we were just insane. We took steroids, we lifted real heavy, ate as much food as we could stuff into us. I was about 245 in college. After college, I slimmed down, and then it was just like, it was a yo-yoing weight in the sense of, not in a big sense like when people talk about yo-yo dieting, but I would always, go through periods of being unhealthy. And I would eat bad for a while, and I'd say get 20 pounds. About 20, 30 pounds over my weight was about as far as I'd ever get. And that's why I never got super big, because I always had a ceiling. But what I'm getting around to there is when I would try to lose those 20 pounds, sometimes 30 pounds back then, it was always a struggle. You had to do this, you had to do that. And it would last for a while, but it just never lasted because, it wasn't like I was adapting a new way of eating. For the last 10 years, this has been the easiest to maintain a weight. In fact, for the longest time, it was sometimes hard for me to keep weight on. And also, too, just for transparency or whatever, for new people that might be on here, I don't eat 100% raw. I eat very high raw. I mean very, very high raw, but I don't eat 100% raw. And a lot of the reason I've eaten and include cooked food is, to kind of help keep weight up. As the last year or so, I don't feel like I have to eat so furiously just to keep the weight on. But over 10 years, one of the things that I've found, and this isn't as important. My main reason, I just like having good digestion. I've had great digestion for 10 years, but I've also not had to think about weight. I've not had to think about, okay, it's time to do something. I just eat. I eat the same way all the time, and there's just not this back and forth with it. And one big reason for that is that I approached this thing from the very beginning. I came to this lifestyle just kind of looking at different things, searching, because it was about health for me. Even right before I went vegan, I had kind of transitioned to being raw vegan without knowing it the 6 months or so before I went raw vegan. So honestly, by the time I'd actually learned about this lifestyle, I didn't need to lose any more weight. I did, and that's another story for another day, just because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't eat near enough, but yeah, so I was already kind of ready for this lifestyle. But once I started eating like this, I realized, I'm like, wait, okay, what's the catch here, and how long is this going to last? Because I've never had to be hungry. It's not like a diet where I never sit around. I never deny myself. I'm never like, okay, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat that. My body just craves the things that I know that I need to fuel myself. And there may be a little rough patch in the beginning getting rid of some of those foods that kind of call out to you that you have cravings for. But like I say, just almost from day one, I think I was scared enough of what might happen later on in my life with all the drinking and the shit that I had done in my past, the ways I've used my body, that I was really just focused on trying to like take things out of my diet that I felt were detrimental to my health, whether it was cancer related, whether it was liver, because obviously I probably damaged the hell out of my liver over years, but obviously not too bad because I've been 10 years and I haven't seen any of the effects of any kind of liver stuff like jaundice or any other symptoms. But that's where I got into this. So I mean, maybe my approach was always different from the beginning because I was real focused, and I was 48 years old when I started eating like this. And like I say, I got into this lifestyle because I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to pay the piper. There's going to be consequences to the way that I treated my body, to the way I drank, to the kind of food that I put in my body. So from day one, I kind of just started, and I don't want people to think when I say this, let me just say it first, I eat for what I need. I eat for my nutritional needs. I don't eat for taste. I mean, every once in a while, of course, like nobody's a robot, but like 95% of the food that I eat, I don't sit around before it and go, what do I feel like today? What do I have a taste for? Normally it's like if I had something for breakfast, it's like, okay, I need to get my greens in. So I'm going to have a salad. I'm going to have a green smoothie. I'm going to have some fruit in the morning. I'm going to have this and that. So it's always a matter of I'm going to put my nutritional needs first, and then okay, there's a little wiggle room if later on I've gotten all my nutritional needs met, maybe I eat something that is for taste. But the thing is there's not really this either or. I eat ice cream. I eat ice cream for breakfast, and there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, got something in my way here. And there's nothing wrong with that. So what I'm getting at is, don't take that the wrong way when I say I eat for nutrition and not for taste. I like everything I eat. I find everything I eat tasty. You might not, and that's why I'm always encouraging people to to come up with recipes and learn how to create food in the kitchen on their own, because you're not me. You don't have the same taste I do. I've got odd taste. I always did, even when I didn't eat this lifestyle. And I noticed sometimes that even a lot of my habits carried over into this lifestyle of I can just be very repetitive. I can eat the same thing for days and days and days and days. I used to do that back then too. It just wasn't with the best choices of food or the healthiest food. But this is definitely the easiest way to keep the weight off long term. And it's just so hard like I say, with and knowing where I came from, and knowing that I'm not like one of those people that's just naturally lean, naturally thin, whatever. I just don't trust it when people are saying they're doing a fully raw diet and they can't lose the weight. There's something in there. There's something with the math there. And I'm not pointing fingers at people saying you're lying, you're doing this. It's just like there's something in the math. It's like, when sometimes back in school, when you did math, the teacher would say, show your work. I'm like, okay, show me your work. Show me. Have a food journal. Write down every morsel, everything that you put in your mouth. Write down how much of it. Be as accurate as possible, because when I see somebody that's claiming they're being fully raw, and a lot of times they're doing these juice feast and fast and whatever, and they're a bit overweight. After a while, I mean, if they're new, it might take a little bit of the weight to come off. I'm like, no, there's something missing there. Let's see that work. Let me see what you're doing, and maybe we can figure out exactly. A lot of times people are doing things and getting extra calories or things that are going to keep the weight on them that they don't even know about. So that's why I always stress doing something that I never did, and that's keeping a food journal. Oh, and I like to also always mention I have food journals in the description down below. That's just a standard link that I keep down there. But you don't need a food journal. You can get yourself like a little notebook at Walmart or whatever, but you got to write it down if you're struggling with that weight thing, because you really shouldn't be. Because it's the lightest food, and there's going to be exceptions. Like I said, there's always going to be exceptions. There's somebody that'll have a real serious thyroid issue. There'll be some hormonal stuff, especially in women. There will be some metabolism stuff, but most people, If you just get in there and rework that math and figure out what you're doing that's keeping that weight on you, you'll work it out, you'll release it. And then if you just get in a pattern, I think the biggest thing where people, like dabble with this lifestyle or think they're doing this lifestyle, but they kind of jump back and forth and they do these little special things and, okay, well, I'm going to have a cheat day or this or that. It's just like when you keep putting things back in, like I know a lot of raw vegans that eat things and that they'll tell you this is my problem spot. And they're like, well, and they try to, it's kind of like cocaine. You can't, most people, if you've got an addiction or something to cocaine, or if you do too much cocaine, you can't say, well, I'm just going to do a little bit of cocaine. So if you have something that causes you problems, it's always causing out to you, you got to get rid of it. I had those things in the beginning. I'm not like superhuman. I had cravings. I had things that I'm like, ooh, I want that. I didn't have it. The longer I didn't put it in, I kept it out of my mouth and didn't put it back into my body, eventually those cravings went away. And I've seen a lot of things that dropped away throughout the years. Like I remember for the longest time, nuts. And I would allow myself like to get a bag of almonds or pistachios or something. And in bed, I'd be watching a series on Netflix or something, and I'd eat some nuts. Didn't do it often, and then all of a sudden I just realized I didn't even have a taste for that. But look into it. Try to do this thing from a rational approach and not this, like I say, get rid of the mentality, the detoxing and the juicing and the this and the that, and just learn some solid nutrition. And like I say, I don't have a lot of raw resources that I tend to recommend because there's just not that many good ones out there. And the ones that most people recommend, I'm like, oh dear Lord, no. So Dr. Gregor, How Not to Die, you can take that information and translate it into how to do it raw. Brenda Davis, Becoming Raw. Fiber Fueled. All these books, except for Brenda Davis, are not raw, but they can teach you the fundamentals of what we need, like the gut biome, feeding our body, putting real nutrition into our body. And if it's not from a raw source, you, like I say, you can take that and you can translate it over and do it however you see fit. But anyhow, like I say, 58 years old, the last 10 years have been just like, don't even think about that kind of stuff. So my math's working for me. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Have a beautiful weekend, and might see you this weekend. And if not, we'll see you Monday. Peace.